The morning had started like any other for Richard Lawson. For the rest of the world, he was the kind of man people noticed, tall, sharply dressed, and with the quiet confidence of someone who could buy a building just because he liked the view. But to the small girl holding his hand, he wasn't the millionaire. He was just Dad. Her name was Emma. 8 years old. Brown hair always in a messy braid she did herself. And eyes, those deep, searching blue eyes, that seemed to hold 1,000 words she could never speak. Emma was born mute. Doctors had said there was no physical damage to her vocal cords. Her silence was something they couldn't quite explain. Richard had hired the best specialists, flown her to hospitals across continents, and still, nothing. Emma lived in a quiet world, communicating only through gestures, facial expressions, and the delicate movements of her small hands and sign language. It had made him fiercely protective. The kind of father who kept her close in crowds, who read her face like a book for the things she couldn't say aloud. That Saturday morning, Richard decided to take Emma out for breakfast. They just moved to a quieter part of the city, somewhere she could walk without being swarmed by paparazzi or stopped by well-meaning strangers asking about her condition. The cafe was a little corner place with glass walls, warm lighting, and the smell of fresh bread drifting onto the street. Emma pressed her nose to the glass before they walked in, eyes landing on the display of muffins stacked high like sugary little mountains. Inside, the place was busy but calm, the kind of background noise Emma seemed to like. He guided her to a table by the window. She slid into the booth, her small hands instantly fidgeting with the edge of her sweater. Richard reached across the table and smiled, mouthing the words slowly, exaggerating them the way she understood. "What do you want?" Emma pointed toward the muffins. He nodded and stood to order. The girl at the counter was young, maybe mid-20s, with hair pulled into a messy bun and an apron dusted with flour. She took his order quickly, professionally. But just as he was about to pay, he noticed her glance over his shoulder, at Emma. When Richard returned to the table with their breakfast, Emma was sitting a little straighter. Her fingers were moving in small, cautious shapes. And the young woman from the counter was standing right there, smiling softly, signing back. For a second, Richard froze. His body went still, coffee halfway to his lips. It was like watching someone step into a locked room he'd guarded for years without a key, and open it effortlessly. The young woman's hands moved smoothly, naturally, with the rhythm of someone who didn't just know sign language, but lived in it. Emma's eyes widened. Then, something Richard hadn't seen in months, she laughed. No sound, just that bright expression, her face breaking open with joy. The young woman signed something quickly, and Emma signed back, her movements sharper now, excited. Richard sat there, invisible for the first time in his daughter's world. When the young woman left to attend another table, he leaned toward Emma. "What did she say?" he mouthed. Emma signed back carefully. She asked if I liked blueberries. She said she does too. Just a small, ordinary conversation. But to Richard, it was monumental. The woman returned a few minutes later with a second muffin, on the house, and placed it in front of Emma. Then she signed, "For my new friend." Richard couldn't help himself. "You know sign language?" he asked aloud, keeping his voice low. She nodded, glancing between him and Emma. "My brother is deaf. I learned when we were kids. It's just how we talk." Something about the way she said it, without pity, without that fragile sympathy he hated, made him want to ask her name. "Anna," she said. "And you must be Emma's dad." He nodded. "Richard." From that moment, breakfast wasn't just breakfast anymore. Anna came back between orders to talk to Emma, their hands moving in an easy dance of signs. Emma's shoulders relaxed, her eyes lit up. Richard watched quietly, his chest tightening. He'd spent years trying to give his daughter the best, the safest, the most luxurious, and yet here she was, more alive with a stranger over muffins than she'd been in months. Halfway through, Anna turned to Richard. "She's funny," she said with a grin. "She just told me she thinks you should wear brighter ties." Richard laughed, shaking his head. She's been holding that one in, I guess. The rest of the cafe faded around them, the clinking cups, the hiss of the espresso machine, the quiet hum of chatter. For a while, there was only the warmth of a connection Richard hadn't realized his daughter was missing. When it was time to leave, Emma clung to Anna's hand for just a moment too long. Richard saw it. Anna saw it. And neither of them pulled away quickly. Outside, as they walked to the car, Emma tugged his sleeve. Her hands moved slowly, deliberately. "Can we come back tomorrow?" That night, Richard couldn't shake the image. Emma laughing silently at a corner cafe with someone who spoke her language without hesitation. He thought about the dozens of nannies, therapists, and tutors he'd hired. The countless people who'd looked at his daughter and only seen what she couldn't do. And how Anna simply saw Emma. The next morning, he told himself it was just breakfast. Just a way to make Emma happy. But when they arrived, the smile that spread across her face as soon as she saw Anna behind the counter made him feel like maybe, just maybe, this was something more. For weeks, they returned every Saturday. Emma learned new signs from Anna, slang, jokes, little idioms that made her giggle. Richard learned, too. At first clumsy, awkward, his fingers stiff. But Emma would take his hands gently, correcting him, guiding him. Then one Saturday, something shifted. When they arrived, Anna wasn't there. The other staff said she was in the back, dealing with the delivery. Emma's shoulders slumped, and Richard felt an odd pang in his chest. They ate in silence, and just as they were about to leave, Anna appeared, but not in her apron. She was carrying a small duffel bag. "You're leaving?" Richard asked before he could stop himself. Anna hesitated. "Just for a bit. My brother needs me. He's starting at a new school, and my mom's overwhelmed." She smiled at Emma. "I didn't want to go without saying goodbye." Emma froze. Her small hands moved quickly, her face tightening. Richard watched Anna's expression change as she read the signs. "She's asking if you'll come back," Anna said softly. "I will," Anna promised. "But it might be a while." Emma nodded, trying to be brave, but Richard could see the tears threatening. Without thinking, he pulled out his phone. "Can we exchange numbers? For updates?" Anna hesitated, just for a heartbeat, then nodded. The weeks after Anna left felt longer. Richard still took Emma to the cafe, but it wasn't the same. He caught her practicing new signs in the mirror, her hands restless, as if afraid she'd forget before Anna returned. And then, one rainy Thursday, Richard's phone buzzed with a video message. It was Anna, sitting next to a teenage boy who looked a lot like her. He was signing something, a little awkwardly, but clearly heartfelt. Then Anna appeared in frame, translating. He says hi to Emma. And he says, "Thank you for sharing your dad. Because he thinks your dad's been good for his sister." Richard sat there staring at the screen long after the video ended. He didn't know why, but something about those words made his throat tight. 3 months later, Anna came back. No fanfare, no warning, just there behind the counter one Saturday morning, grinning as if she'd never left. Emma ran to her, arms flung wide, and for once, Richard didn't care about the stares from other customers. That morning, over muffins and coffee, Anna taught Emma a new sign. Richard watched them both, slowly mimicking the movement. Anna caught him at it, smirking. "You're getting better," she teased. "Good teacher," he said. And in that little corner cafe, with rain streaking the glass and the smell of fresh bread in the air, Richard realized something he hadn't before. Sometimes, the most valuable thing you can give someone isn't protection or privilege. It's a person who sees them exactly as they are, and speaks their language.